Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We're here to plug you into the world of professional wrestling. I'm Fisher and I'm here with one of my co-hosts this week, Krusty.
Hey everyone.
No pod last week. Apologies for that. But we are back and I'm back on camera, as you can see.
Yes.
Which is good.
Got an exciting week as well. Build up to Elimination Chamber.
Yep. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll be previewing Elimination Chamber basically and talking about Raw and SmackDown for this past week. But yeah, it should be an exciting week.
Yeah, it's good. So I guess should we start at the top with SmackDown and probably the opening segment? What did you think of that?
So the opening segment was Sami Zayn and Paul Heyman, right?
It was indeed. Yeah, with a banging promo.
Really, really good promo, and all of the promos so far in this, not just this feud, but like Cody, Sami, and Roman and Heyman and whoever, all of them have been hit so far.
Yes.
And they've done a really good job of making you think Sami could win, but also they've made you care about Cody because Sami's really popular. You know, there was a lot of people suggesting maybe Cody could get booed because they want Sami, but that's not happening at all. It's just you've got two people that are really over.
Cheered, yeah.
And it's really, really good. So, and the promos have been fantastic. Obviously, we didn't do a pod last week, but the one with Cody and Paul Heyman was brilliant. Then you got, obviously, we'll get to Raw, but this one on SmackDown was also good, and just really interesting. And then also some of the other stuff that happened with the Usos and Sami Zayn and stuff on this show. Just really,
we
really
might as well talk about that. I guess now we've started with Sami.
Yeah, we might as well talk about all the Bloodline stuff and Sami Zayn. I guess.
This is the main focal point anyway, isn't it? I mean, this is just dominating WWE at the moment.
Yeah, and particularly SmackDown, because the thing is, Raw has a lot of other good stuff and a lot of, it has 3 hours. So they've got to have other exciting feuds, and they've got good women's stuff. They've got Seth Rollins, you've got, Austin Theory, you've got Edge, you've got Brock Lesnar, you've got all this other stuff going on. Yeah. SmackDown does feel like it's all a little bit eggs in one basket at the moment. We'll get to the rest of the show because there was a lot of filler on this show, I felt. Yeah. There was some good stuff as well. But, obviously the stuff with the Usos, the segments backstage with Jimmy and Paul, like Jimmy not knowing
if Jay's going to turn up.
And then obviously comes out for his match.
Yeah, that was cool. Entered from the crowd. Didn't expect him to turn up. I honestly didn't think he was going to turn up.
I thought he was, but I thought there was a possibility that, he might turn up like midway through the match and then they lose the titles.
Yeah.
The SmackDown, because they'd still have the Raw belts. So, like, you could still do...
I thought twice now that they're going to have lost these belts. Both times they defended them, I thought they were going to lose them.
It's because they're T-splitting them, so I thought, maybe they're going to split them, but they just haven't done it. I think now they won't. At this point now, they shouldn't. They've had their chance to do it, and they didn't. So, really interesting. But obviously, so the Usos were defending against Strowman and Ricochet, and they had a pretty good match, to be fair.
It was a good match. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I actually like Strowman and Ricochet as a tag team. I know they've been thrown together a little bit randomly.
Play off each other very well, don't they?
I think Braun working with a smaller guy works really well. Obviously not Nicholas Small.
You've got both elements of excitement in it, haven't you? You've got the power and size, and then the flexibility and acrobatics.
And Braun can finish. He can do moves off of Braun's shoulders.
That is cool.
That kind of stuff. So you've got a good mix there, and I actually think they work quite well together. And I think Strowman has actually been one of the better returns. I know I've said this before, but genuinely, I think he's done. He's having some good matches, which is rare.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying them, to be honest. Yeah,
I think the matches here. This match here was good. Obviously, the Usos are great tag teams. It's hard not to have a great match.
Yeah.
But obviously, in the end, they won. The Usos won with Jay hitting a splash.
This was quite a cool segment, actually.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember what exactly happened. I think Ricochet went for a splash.
Yeah, Ricochet did a shooting star press onto Jimmy.
That's it.
And then off the back of that, as he was getting up, Jay kind of out of nowhere. So Jay as well wins the match for the Usos, which I think was the crucial bit of booking here. Because he showed up and won it for his team. So that was all great as well. And then we got some more stuff on the show to do with the Bloodline 2, which we had Sami Zayn and Jey Uso.
Yeah, this was very interesting.
In the secret, in like this backstage outside area somewhere. And Sami was like, I acknowledge you, Jey Uso.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
A little secret fist bump. So it's interesting. We'll get to the Reigns Sami Zayn match and what we're not going to predict it, but we'll talk about possible outcomes maybe in a minute. But this made it very interesting to set up for the pay-per-view, I felt.
Again, it makes it really interesting if Jay's going to side with Sami.
Yeah, because implying at the moment, it's implying that he will, but I don't think he will in the end, obviously. But, who knows what's going to happen. They could find a way where he does still.
Well, let's talk about a couple of bits around that then. So, I mean, you've also got the element of, well, at the end of this, on SmackDown, you had Paul basically say to Jimmy, things are seen on like TV.
Yes.
Maybe it seems. So
obviously that's
teasing maybe a Uso split as well.
So Paul was there basically suggesting that he knew that what Sami and Jay did because he's obviously seen it back on the TV, whereas Jimmy hadn't seen that yet, which is interesting. And obviously he told him to stay home. And there's a reason for that because obviously Jimmy Uso can't go to Canada because of his DUIs.
I've read that they possibly are cleared to go.
Yeah, I've heard different things regarding that. And I have a feeling Jay can, but Jimmy can't. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, you can still do an angle with Jay anyway.
Yeah.
Because you can do Jay, you could do Roman and Solo beating down Sami. Jay comes down. You think he's going to save Sami, but he joins in. Then Kevin Owens comes in. It's going to be something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just
they're just doing a brilliant job, as you say, of making us believe Sami could win and what could happen.
That raised even further with the promo on Raw, which we'll get to when we talk about that. But yeah, this whole stuff throughout the show with the Bloodline and Sami, everything they did here was brilliant as usual. No complaints whatsoever about that. Really, really good stuff.
And I guess generally, the rest of SmackDown, as you even mentioned, was kind of filler, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with the rest of the show last week. There was a couple of good bits, and obviously we got an Intercontinental title match set up in the main event.
Yes, which, that was a bit random, though, wasn't it?
Filler necessarily, but it was a bit random the way
out of nowhere in the result.
Yeah, so Madcap Moss. I have no idea who was going to win this. By the way,
we had Karrion Kross, Madcap Moss, Moss and Cross, Rey Mysterio, and Santos Escobar. And the match was okay. Wasn't anything brilliant.
The match was quite good. I loved the stare down between sort of the bit between Escobar and Rey because they've not faced yet, and this is kind of like the Lucha Libre, younger, the new Lucha star and the old Lucha star. And I'm surprised they haven't done more with them. I think they got to down the line. And in fact, they did a great segment, but it wasn't shown on TV after SmackDown, where they gave each other a mask and they were talking about the specs and stuff they had for each other. It was great, but they didn't show it on TV. So I'd like to see more with those two. But yeah, Madcap Moss getting the win. I mean, it's a filler opponent for Gunther, isn't it?
Just for Gunther to destroy someone who looks pretty beastie, I think.
Yeah, I guess it gives Madcap a little bit of a spotlight because he's been off TV a lot.
He's done recently. Nothing, has he, since Emma came? It's like Emma's come and ruined him.
Yeah, and I just feel like pairing them together hasn't helped either of them really.
No, not at all. Very odd.
Emma isn't really wrestling much. She's just kind of by Moss's side, and Moss isn't doing anything of note either. So
Emma seems a bit of a waste of a signing.
I think I get the signing because she's very experienced.
Yeah, she's very good, but they don't use her. That's the thing.
Yeah, so I understood why they brought her back, and then she had a great first match. I remember with Ronda.
Yeah, it was very good. Yeah, she's great in ring. They just need to put her in the ring.
Yeah, but they've not done enough with her. And Madcap, like I say, maybe they're bringing each other down slightly. And they've not really got a character, have they? They're just kind of this couple that are there. And I don't think that helps them either.
No, nothing's really happening. Raw may be able to give them more time, but SmackDown, it's just not long enough to give them any time on screen. And people don't care enough, do they?
We'll talk about that when we get to Raw. But there's certain people that can go over to Raw and they start getting TV acts and they start getting feuds. There's one in particular I'll talk about we get to. But yeah, that was interesting. I never felt like Mysterio or Karrion Kross were going to win because they're feuding with each other. So you kind of feel like either of them were probably going to win. I thought Escobar might, just as, you know, that would have been a cool opponent for Gunther.
Depends if they want to see him get squashed.
Yeah.
this early on. I mean, in terms of the rest of the show, I mean, there's a few things, but not too sure if they're worth mentioning. We had Drew and Sheamus face off against Hit Row. They won, and then they got challenged by the Viking Raiders to another match, which should be a banger, to be fair.
I've got to say, by the way, talking of bringing back signings, they did squash Hit Row here, and Hit Row seemed to be very down the pecking order. Yeah. The fact that they beat them this easily. I know, obviously, Drew and Sheamus were a top act.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really did squash them. We had Lacey Evans had a squash match. That was filler. Complete filler that didn't need to be on the show, in my opinion.
Raquel and Liv versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville.
Yeah, so Chelsea Green was a weird one because she's on Raw, obviously, but she came to SmackDown here to complain.
Following Adam Pearce around.
Yeah, I actually really like her character. I think she's playing it really well.
Yeah,
it was just a bit random here. And then obviously her and Deville kind of reluctantly team up and got beat by Liv and Raquel. And they're both in the Elimination Chamber. So they, you know.
I must say, I can't wait for Raquel to turn. I hate this character.
Yeah. Raquel
there's just nothing to it. All she does is smiles. She was so much better when she was a heel in NXT. I know there's a lot of heels at the moment on the women's side, so maybe they'll wait till after Mania, but she's just quite boring.
It very much depends on the result of the Chamber, because without giving anything away of who I think is going to win, I think she's got a chance. I don't think she's not my first pick by any means, but if she did win, then her going heel against Belair would make sense.
Yeah.
Whereas if she doesn't win, then I think you keep her as a face going into Mania. Maybe, I don't know what you do with her, but she'll win a women's battle royal or something. I could see that potentially. But yeah, that was all kind of filler, wasn't it, really? But at least we did get more women's matches and segments.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, I suppose we need to build into Elimination Chamber, and there may be more of that this week.
Because we also got Ronda Rousey returning on this as well. That was
which I was interested that she actually came back. We wasn't sure, was we?
Yeah. Well, I do think Ronda and Shayna are going to go for the tag titles. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah. To be honest, that's probably a good place to put them.
I think it's a perfect place for them. There's not enough good tag teams.
I think it's a shame they didn't pull that earlier, though, because I'd have liked to have seen them face off. Maybe we get that at SummerSlam.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they've got a match this Friday. Obviously, they took out Natalya here, and then Shotzi came to save us. So they've randomly thrown Natalya and Shotzi together. Obviously,
they need to get Natty ready. Yeah, they want a face, don't they?
And obviously, the show on Friday's in Montreal as well, so they want her on the show.
Surely they're going to get one over Ronda and. Why is Natty going into the Chamber on a loss?
She'll probably get a roll up on Shayna Baszler. How many times has Shayna Baszler lost by roll up?
Yeah, that probably happened.
Shocked. It happens all the time. It's annoying. It won't be Ronda. If they do lose, it won't be Ronda taking the pin, will it? But that was about it, really, from SmackDown. It was a decent show, but mainly carried by the Bloodline stuff.
Yeah.
The rest of it was kind of filler. The Intercontinental title match was good, but Madcap Moss winning is a little bit strange. But I'm not going to be too down on it because it's not a feud. It's just a one-off match that's happening this week.
Yeah, exactly.
If they were dragging this out for weeks, I'd be like, what are they doing? You know, because why are you having Gunther this close to Mania feuding with Madcap Moss? But because it's only one match, one show.
It's just to see them through the Chamber, isn't it, really? And then they can start up again.
I'm sure we'll get more about Gunther's opponent after Elimination Chamber. I've got some ideas of what they're going to do with Gunther, but I'm not sure.
Be interested to hear that maybe on a special pod.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like a massive surprise to people or person that I think they could do, unless they do some sort of big multi-man thing. But we'll talk about, we'll do a podcast soon, I'm sure, where we discuss Mania and a special pod probably where we discuss Mania and the card so far and the other matches we think are going to be added and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
On to Raw.
Yeah, let's move on to Raw because Raw
was pretty stacked.
I thought Raw was a really good show. Like I said, SmackDown was generally been the better show, mainly because of the bloodline. I thought Raw was overall the better show this week because I think it had a lot of really good stuff on it.
Do you want to start with the bloodline stuff again, I guess, and Cody?
Yeah, let's go to that promo because it kind of links from where we were talking about earlier between Cody and Sami. Just fantastic stuff.
This was a scorcher, wasn't it? I mean, Sami Zayn impresses me more and more all the time, and I don't think I'm alone there. I was not a big Sami fan pre the bloodline.
I've always been a fan, but I think him in this role has
another level.
Has gone up a level. Yeah, I've always thought he was great. He was great as a heel, and in NXT, his babyface run was really good. But like, we haven't seen that magic on the main roster, like that absolute babyface magic, and now we're seeing that. So yeah, it's different.
So he calls out Cody. The crowd here, the Brooklyn crowd, were amazing.
This was a great place to do it, by the way, because Brooklyn is a proper. They were singing along to Kingdom. Cody actually tweeted about that. Because most fans react to the whoa bit and cheer, but they were singing the verses. They were so into Cody, but everything throughout the whole show, not just this segment. I've never heard, by the way, a promo segment get a "This is awesome" chant.
Oh yeah, that was incredible, wasn't it? Yeah,
you just don't see that.
Yeah, great crowd, great couple of people in this promo. So Sami calls out Cody. It was so intense, wasn't it? And it was mad to see both people getting cheers. Weird. Exactly. Normally you get one of them get booed, but no.
It was risky. I tell you what, and I've seen a lot of people say this, it was a ballsy move to put this promo.
It was.
Because they could have easily turned on Cody here, but they didn't. They didn't. And
I think Cody's talk since the Royal Rumble has just been so good.
Yeah. He is the guy. That's the thing. People were moaning because he's been pushed hard. But he is the guy. He is the right guy.
He's so good.
And that's why I don't think people are turning on it, because they're realising, hang on, no, he deserves this.
I love the way he talks as well, because he plays on his lineage, but doesn't use that as the one and only thing. And he's not it's not pretend. It all feels very real. And I really like that. He's not just dwelling on it. He's using it as a drive, and he's saying, I'm going to beat you, whatever. And I just enjoy the way he talks. And these two together was just such good chemistry.
Yes, it was brilliant. And I don't think they've ever done anything together before either, really. So
I think it's one of the best Sami Zayn promos I can remember.
Yeah, but both of them got so fired up, very putting each other over, but
intense.
Also talking about themselves. Yeah. And then, I love the bit at the end where Cody was like, I'm going to finish my story. You need to finish yours. I just loved it. And yeah, it did kind of make you believe that Sami has a chance of winning pay-per-view. Obviously, spoiler alert, I'm not predicting Sami Zayn to beat Roman Reigns on my predictions.
No.
But
definitely made us think, hasn't it?
It's I can't wait to watch it, because that crowd is going to be so hot in Montreal. There's going to be near falls. There's going to be a moment where something huge happens and you think Sami might win, and then it's going to be taken away from you. I can imagine there being a stunner, then a haluva kick or something behind the ref's down. The ref gets back up. You think he's going to win these slow counts, and it's two.
It's going to be mad. I can feel the crowd now. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, it's going to be insane.
It's going to be like us at Clash at the Castle watching Drew versus Roman. It's going to be that,
but even more probably.
Yeah,
probably more because of how good the
everybody's
story
into the story so
the
hard.
Drew story wasn't particularly great. It was just the fact we liked Drew in the UK.
It was just the fact that Drew, was but it was intense. No, that was a banger.
Absolutely, great promo again there. What else?
Should we go on to some women's wrestling? So it was actually opened and closed, I believe, by the women division, which is quite cool. So we had Becky open the show saying she needs to concentrate on the title, but then Bayley interrupts that. I did quite like some jives here where Becky said that Bayley doesn't know what main event in WrestleMania is like. That was pretty savage.
And I like the fact that they haven't ignored, because the thing about Becky and Bayley is they're both top stars, and before this win, they hadn't really mentioned WrestleMania.
No.
And them being disappointed at not winning Rumble and things like that. Whereas Becky was like, I haven't got a direction for WrestleMania, and like I have to be on the card.
Yeah,
and so it completely made sense that her and Bayley both wanted to be in the Elimination Chamber because that's their easiest way in. Mm-hmm. So the whole segment made sense, and it also made sense that Belair would want to stop them.
Yeah, I think that was brilliant. I love this, like proper. It just feels realistic, not rubbishy.
But all of their motivations made sense.
Yeah, and it would have been a very Vince thing to do, I feel, if they put them in. So I'm actually really happy that they made this match.
Yeah, we'll get to the match, but I'm glad Belair won because I didn't want a seventh competitor,
and that puts her over so much.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
puts her over so much getting that victory.
Bayley needs to win, but it does leave the question of what do Becky and Bayley do at Mania?
I think that's quite good because it's intriguing.
Yeah, I think we're going to get some sort of. Do we get them still feuding with each other? Do Damage Control face Ronda and Shayna, and then Bayley does something else? Like, I have no idea, honestly. I mean, there's been a lot of talk of, obviously, because Lita came back last week and helped Becky. Will we get Becky and Lita, maybe, versus Damage Control or something like that? But I just honestly don't know.
No, that's good, though, isn't it, for us to not have a clue what's going to go on with some of the top stars, because inevitably they're going to be used. I kind of hope it's not against each other because that'd be a bit stale, I think.
Yeah, dragging it all the way out to Mania does seem a bit unnecessary when they had the cage match, and that should be a feud-ending type match, really.
And it also seems like Becky's got one over her constantly.
The only way I want them to face each other is if it's like a 6-woman tag match or something like that. Say you did Lita and Trish versus Damage Control.
You never know, though. They could do something a bit screwy and the winner of the chamber goes in, but they make it a fatal 4-way at Mania.
They could do something like that. It wouldn't be surprising with it.
But we'll see. But it was great to see them ending the show. It was a really good match, actually. Damage Control obviously got involved. Belair throwing Io Sky out to the outside was mad, showing her power as usual. We haven't seen too much of that from Belair lately. I feel so that was good sort of as a reminder. And I love the ending to this where Becky hit a manhandle slam and then Belair KO'd Becky onto Bayley and then managed to pin Bayley. So Bayley getting wrecked, really. But yeah, really enjoyable.
And like I say, this was a smart main event. I thought it was pretty good. And I'm glad that Bianca won so that we get the Elimination Chamber. We might as well talk about the rest of the 6 women in this Elimination Chamber because it kind of leads on from that. We had Asuka, Carmella, and Nikki Cross versus the SmackDown ladies of Raquel, Liv.
Now they've done. I've always been critical of these tags right before a pay-per-view where they just throw. I would say normally it's heels versus face, but actually it's just Raw versus SmackDown.
Yeah.
I kind of hope now they've done it, they make alliances in the chamber of Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, they could.
I hope they do, because otherwise it just seems completely pointless that they've thrown these together.
The way this match went would suggest they're not going to do that because Asuka just killed everyone, including their own teammates.
Yeah. So, that does make me doubt because I mean I was sort of swaying towards Asuka winning this chamber, but
I was as well, and I still am. But it's made me doubt it.
I suppose we've got another SmackDown to see what happens, but then Triple H doesn't go down the normal method of.
No, he might just be booking Asuka really strong because he has.
I mean, look at Cody, the most obvious win ever.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not like he hasn't booked Asuka strong before. I mean, her NXT run where she was undefeated for like a billion years. So yeah, I like the booking of this match in the way it was done. I like the fact that Asuka just didn't give a shit and beat up Carmella. She beat up Nikki. She beat up everybody, and then tapped Liv out with a really savage-looking submission. I was a bit miffed that it was Liv tapped.
Yeah,
but I guess it doesn't matter too much. And maybe Liv's going to get. Hopefully, Liv gets a good showing in the Elimination Chamber at least. I want her to at least get a good showing.
I think she will. She did in the Rumble, didn't she?
Yeah. Carry on that sort of workhorse, strong competitor. You know, maybe she gets an elimination or 2 in the match, but I don't think she'll win.
No, she's a shame, really. But so someone who didn't get a very good showing. I don't really know what happened here. I don't know if it was on purpose, but. Corbin went to do an interview right before Sami Zayn and got cut off. Do we think that was on purpose?
Yeah, 100%, because they're they're basically, because JBL basically said that people want to turn the channel when he's on TV and he's not important. They were playing on that.
I see.
Well, something important's happening in the ring. Sami Zayn's a lot more important than you. And obviously it led to the thing with Cody later on.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Cody basically insulted Cody's family and Cody was behind him, luckily enough. And then Cody just starts beating him up and asks him for a match while in his suit, and Cody just destroys him. Poor old Corbin, though. Corbin's just getting wrecked.
I think this is going somewhere, and I hope it's going somewhere, because Corbin has is good, and he shouldn't just be completely buried. But I do think this is leading to either Lone Wolf style Baron Corbin coming back, or the broke Corbin. That
was very popular, and they rushed through that a bit, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did rush through it. I'd like to see him kind of go down that route again.
Yeah. Or Lone Wolf.
Eventually transitioning into the Lone Wolf.
I'd love him to be the Lone Wolf again, because they've ruined him. Honestly, if they'd have allowed him to cash in successfully, I think we'd have seen a completely different Baron Corbin.
Yeah, maybe we would. And it was a bit like the Austin Theory Money in Batman, where it was a little bit too much too soon. And I think they rushed it and ruined it. Like I do with Theory, they turned it around very quickly.
Yeah.
And gave him a different character, they put the US title on him and all that. Whereas with Corbin, it kind of just, they kept him the same and didn't do anything with it for ages.
Yeah.
And then people just got bored. And then they did the Constable Corbin thing, which was really,
terrible.
He was on TV way too much then. He was on the screen like every 5 minutes, and people got very bored of him. But yeah, great again for Cody though. Good to actually see him get a win, like an actual bit of. It wasn't a long match, but just having him on a one-on-one match was good. So he's going to be doing some wrestling. Looks like before Mania. Interestingly, I saw he's going to be working house shows as well. Apparently he's going to be doing some 6-man tagging with the Good Brothers.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
random but cool.
Obviously, all former Bullet Club guys, but I mean, the Good Brothers haven't been on TV since AJ got injured, hardly. But at least that gives them something to do. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, you can protect Cody a bit because he can come in, do a crossroads, not take too many bumps.
Yeah, Carl Anderson could just take all the bumps, and he can come in and win it for him. What else did we have on this show? So we had Piper Niven.
Yes, destroying Mia Yim, Mishin. Interestingly, how easy she beat her here.
It's interesting to see what they do with Piper, because they brought her back. They feel like it's strong on her. Again, there's only so many spots at Mania. You feel like there's only 3 or 4 women's matches on the card, right? And you've got people like Raquel. And
you can't have her face Belair again.
No, because she's not in the match anyway, is she?
No, but I don't know what they're gonna do. I keep forgetting the chamber,
it's interesting to see what they do with some of these women, because
they've all feuded before as well, really. Unless she feuds with Bayley, but that wouldn't really make sense. But
no,
because we've had Becky Piper, we've had Belair Piper, so yeah, I don't really know where they're going to go with that. Be interesting to see. Be quite cool seeing Piper versus a legend, but I don't know if it'd be a very good idea to put them together.
No, it's just interesting because, like I said, there's a lot of people they brought back, and you're just kind of assuming they're going to be somewhere on the card. They might just bring back the Women's Battle Royal and have them all in that. I don't know. But I don't know what they're going to do with those this year, because the last couple of years, I mean, they didn't even bother with the Women's one, I don't think. And they did the Andre the Giant one's been done on SmackDown rather than on actual WrestleMania, hasn't it? Which is
that's strange, though. I think they should do it on the main card.
Go back to the old formula with that and put some on the pre-show or something. But anyway, that's a little bit of a sort of side note.
Yeah, we went off there, didn't we?
Should we talk about
Judgment Day?
Yeah.
So this builds into the chamber, doesn't it?
Yeah, because we got Balor and Priest against the Street Profits. Obviously, Montez Ford and Damian Priest are both in the Elimination Chamber match for the United States Championship. They had a pretty good tag team match, as you'd expect. With Balor in the end getting the win after an interference from Dominic Mysterio.
It's quite interesting to see Street Profits lose, actually.
Yeah.
It's not often you see that.
It's one of those, I was like, which team's losing here? Because you don't really want either of them to lose.
No.
Because Balor and Priest have got to keep strong as well. But I guess, I'm assuming Dawkins took the pin.
Dawkins took the pin from Balor,
Ford's in the match.
Which makes sense.
You can't have him take it. So, and then obviously you've got the after angle as well with Edge and
Honesty.
Yeah. And Rhea getting one over, sneaking out of the crowd. They said she was
wrecking Beth. Yeah.
Took out Beth. Obviously, we've got that at the Elimination Chamber as well. That is going to be a fun tag match.
That's also going to be an interesting one. I don't know what direction you go with that, because Rhea.
It could go either way, that one.
You want Rhea strong, but you also want to give the crowd a home crowd pop.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think they're getting it with the other matches, because obviously you've got Sami, you've got Natalya, and you've got Edge, basically, as your three sort of.
So you've got to give one, surely.
And you'd think maybe one of them was going to win.
Although they didn't give us anything at Clash, did they, with Sheamus Andrew losing?
No, they didn't, actually.
So they're not scared to not to let us down.
Yeah, Tyson Fury sing along at the end, but that wasn't working. Can you imagine if this ends with some Canadian singer coming out? Shania Twain comes out and sings with Sami Zayn. I don't think it would go down well.
Oh dear. That's interesting. We also had the Brock and Lashley contract signing. This Raw was absolutely stacked, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And you could tell
Lashley's full heel now, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Lashley seems to have gone full heel. Yeah. Weirdly, the Hurt Business reunion.
It's interesting that hasn't materialised at all.
No, we saw MVP again talking to Shelton and Cedric in the back on one of the backstage segments. I think it might come into play at the pay-per-view, though.
Okay.
Well, I've seen a couple of people on our predictions that I've put them up on our Twitter now, so you can check them out. By the way, I'll plug that at the end. But I've seen a couple of people predicted. They're like, "Do we have to predict this match?" Because I think it's going to be a no contest, and that's exactly how I feel about it. Because I think it's very strange that this is on the Elimination Chamber card when it should have it should be at Mania, right? Otherwise, what do these two do at Mania?
I wonder whether Omos gets involved and then you get Brock Omos.
Potentially. It's very odd that this match has been put on this card. I don't know why it's there. I don't think it needs to be there either. Because this card's so strong with that. Like,
you could have interference from the Hurt Business, like you say.
Yeah, I
very early on, which then says, right, I want you at Mania.
Yeah. I think we may get a fourth match out of this somehow. Or this won't be a match at all. One of the two. But yeah, this actual segment on Raw was quite interesting, really, wasn't it? With Lashley kind of, like you say, he's gone full heel. He was being very cocky, and then he sort of laid the trap for Brock. It was good. There's not a lot else to say about it, really.
No, that was it. Lots of security getting launched everywhere.
Yeah, which was fun. I'm loving Brock in this sort of role at the moment. He's very funny. I thought his promo the week before was hilarious. When he was talking about Bobby, I do this and I think about Bobby. I do that and I think about Bobby. And he was on about being in bed with his wife. And he's like, 4 hours later, I think about Bobby. That was hilarious. So credit to Brock. But yeah, I'm excited for this match purely because it's like, it should be carnage. I think it needs a stipulation, really, but I think they may be saving that for Mania. I think
I'm not too sure.
No sense otherwise what these two do at Mania. I just don't get it. Because Brock apparently is working WrestleMania, and you'd think he would.
Yeah, 100%.
So surely he's facing Lashley again. Otherwise, who else? I know Omos is a possibility, like you said, but we'll see.
One match that was tiny, really, was Mustafa Ali versus Bronson Reed, which ended up in Bronson destroying Ali.
Yeah, this was
really
always going to be. This was always going to go one way, and it's Bronson Reed getting a showcase, which he needed because obviously he is in the Elimination Chamber match, and he hasn't done much so far. So it was good to see him get a strong win. Not a lot else to say. I loved his tsunami move.
It is cool. I can't believe you managed just to pull that off without killing someone.
Yeah, it is good. It's really good.
The last thing, I guess, really, was Miss TV with Seth Rollins. That's all I got down.
Yeah, and there was one other little thing to mention after that. But yeah, let's talk about Rollins' boots then. That was these are crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, these are actually quite expensive boots.
Yeah, I've heard they're like quite a popular thing.
Over £300. They look like something the Smurf would wear.
Yeah.
I think it works for Seth because he's just crazy. It was hilarious watching him trying to wrestle in them. It really was. But yeah, we get Biz TV. And they basically end up in a bit of a scrap, don't they?
As Biz TV inevitably does. But the promos were good from both guys. It was a bit of fun. And then Austin Theory obviously got involved as well. This was all right. It's basically setting up more stuff for Elimination Chamber. But what the main thing about it was mainly about Logan Paul, wasn't it? Miz was asking loads of questions about Logan. So we're definitely getting Seth v Logan Paul. I can't see a match for Seth at Mania now. I think Logan Paul will be there on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the way you get Seth out of the match.
Yeah. Because otherwise he needs to win, really, doesn't he?
Yeah, otherwise, like, what do you do? Because you can't just have him, like, first out eliminated by Bronson Reed.
No.
Such a waste of Seth Rollins. So, yeah, you've got to have, I think, Logan Paul be there on Saturday. I think that's the only way to go with this.
Defo.
And then the one other little thing I was going to mention was Maximum Male Models, which was the act I was going to talk about.
Oh, of course.
Moving SmackDown to Raw, because they've moved to Raw. Now they're getting TV time because they weren't getting any on SmackDown. And I'm kind of enjoying their little comedy feud with Alpha Academy.
Yeah, interesting where they go with this.
She called him OTs, which could be his new name.
Yeah. I liked it when they zoomed in on him and he just said OTs and like he had like crap all in his beard where he'd been eating.
Yeah, and then they gave him the business card. I think him and Maximum Male Models could be really funny.
It'd be funny, yeah.
They can just have Gable and Otis versus them two and just beat them up. Like,
I think this could be a split of Alpha Academy.
It could be, and I wouldn't be against that because Chad Gable's singles push is long overdue.
I'd like him to have a singles push, maybe get a mid-card title. Yeah, I think it'd be brilliant, actually. There's no reason why he couldn't hold on quite successfully.
Oh, I think a US title run with him would be perfect for him.
Yeah.
Honestly. He could just be like, yeah, this is, it's a wrestling belt now. I'm just going to have...
He's just so similar to like Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
In the wrestling style, comedy. I really think they should go down that route with him.
I do as well. I think
even have him adopt the Angle Slam would be cool. He's done one before.
He has used it in matches. Yeah, he's definitely used it. And he's used the ankle lock as well, of course.
Yeah, I think it works really well. You could even have him go like as far as taking his braces off, his shoulder straps and everything.
I think they should have done more with... I think they could have used Kurt Angle a lot more with Chad Gable.
Yeah.
In some storyline. I think
they still could. You never know.
They can still bring Kurt in, I'm sure. But yeah, they should have done more with it when they had the opportunity to, really, when Kurt was there full time more.
Yeah, but really interested to see what they do with Otis, and it might actually make me interested in Maximum Male Models because I really haven't been.
No, I haven't been, but I think this is an entertaining feud for them. I haven't really been interested. And their stuff they've done online has been quite funny, but like, they haven't been putting it on TV. Then when they get in the ring, like there's nothing to them. So hopefully we get some sort of funny match from this.
But what an odd segment to end on. But
I know, the main event
overall.
That's the main event of the show.
That was the main event.
I didn't make any notes, so I'm just going off the WWE website, and that was the only thing. It's not on there, but I was like, I must talk about it.
Oh, poor WWE, poor Otis.
Well, they only really put the results of the matches on there, and then maybe a segment or two, because on the WWE website on the Raw thing, there's nothing about Bobby and Brock either.
Oh, strange, very strange.
Well, I couldn't find anything. There probably is somewhere, but I couldn't find it on that section under the Raw review bits. So, yeah. But, yeah, I suppose it's time to talk about predictions and then do the outro.
Yeah, predictions. So, obviously, this weekend is Elimination Chamber, and Fisher's kindly put the predictions up for this weekend on our Twitter, which you can find at Recharge Wrestle, at Recharge Wrestle. Join in. If you've never predicted with us before, please go have a look and predict. It's just a bit of fun, but if you do well and win the competition, you could have a WWE t-shirt of your choice at the end of the year. But it is just great fun. It gets a bit competitive as well. So have a look, join in, post your predictions before Saturday night, before the main event starts, and not the main event, before the actual event starts, not just the main event. Yeah. Also, if you're listening on a podcast, we are on YouTube. So just search Recharge Wrestling and you will find us down there. Give us a like and subscribe. We would really appreciate that. Keep an eye out because we will be releasing prediction videos, maybe a Elimination Chamber preview as well. So yeah, check out that and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.